This season of music for me very much came from a place of like feeling like I was at this new frontier of really taking off the masquerade in my life. I love to be the songwriter that's the storyteller and kind of that third party perspective. That's what my music has very much been leading up to this project.
I have allergies, but you know what? It doesn't matter because we have Tenille Towns today. Buddy, how are you?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm okay. You and I are like the allergy kings today.
Uh, Got them when we were in Nashville. Well, I've always had them, but they really hit us like the last full day in Nashville, and still
Yeah.
haven't gotten over it. That's been almost about 5 days since we've been back as we're recording this, and jet lag. I know we've both had that, but we had an awesome time in Nashville, and we saw our guest there at the Opry, as well
Yes.
as a couple
Love,
months back in
love the Opry.
George Strait's Straight to Vegas
Vegas. Yep.
series that we saw in February.
She's as you'll hear me say when we kick off the interview, she's everywhere these days, and I think she's about to pop really big. I
Mhm.
I, I I think so because she is opening for the right people you have to open for before you yourself just explode. And she said that she just did her first headlining tour in her native Alberta. So very exciting to have Tenille Towns with us.
Yeah, she was named Forbes 30 under 30 class of 2022, which we didn't discuss then, but she's also a two-time ACM winner, as well as 10-time country music Canadian Country Music Association winner. Try to say that three times fast. And
CCMAs.
yeah, CCMAs. Actually won Female Artist of the Year for 3 consecutive years in 19, 20, and 21.
Wow. She is just taking off. I can't wait to see what she does next. The EP is called Masquerades, and she gets very candid about the inspiration. Tenille Towns, oh my goodness, you are everywhere these days. My gosh, we saw you with George Strait. We just saw you on the Opry. You have a new EP coming out. My goodness gracious, how's 2022 treating you so far?
Thank you for saying that. It's been wonderful. I've been having a blast. I'm so grateful for the adventure so far and looking forward to what's coming too.
Yeah, the EP is called Masquerades, and it's got 7 songs on it. It'll be out a week as of this airing. Tell us about the project and what inspired it.
This season of music for me very much came from a place of like feeling like I was at this new frontier of really taking off the masquerade in my life. I love to be the songwriter that's the storyteller and kind of that third party perspective. That's what my music has very much been leading up to this project. But over these past couple of years of being home and kind of being forced to be alone with some of these more vulnerable and personal thoughts, it's like I could not help the way that this season of music was just coming out that way. And it's exciting and it's terrifying to share these songs that are more of my own personal truth. But it's been such a cool discovery in this process of like taking off the smiling face or the whatever the mask is to just like set that aside. And I've kind of discovered this duality in myself that's like the reflective songwriter and the fiery, entertainer, the person who comes alive on stage. It's like kind of being both of those things and the light and the dark and optimism and realism, like the balance of both of those things has something that I'm just kind of walking through and learning about in this season of my life. I hope that this music can be an invitation for anybody else to feel comforted who might relate and feel the same way that I do.
Love that phrase, season of music. Is that how you think about it? Seasons of your life, seasons of your music?
I do very much. I think the songs that I'm writing are like pages from my journal and are very much the reality of how I'm looking through this window of this season of my life. And I think that will always be reflected in the songs I'm writing, the art that I'm making, and I do believe that will continue to be this like evolution of an adventure for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, and people just recently named you one of country music's most intriguing female artists of the moment. I mean, we've seen you live, like Matt said, and you get crazy on stage, hopping around with the guitar. That's awesome. You don't see a lot of that. Well, how does that accolade make you feel?
It's an honor to hear that. I'm so proud to be a part of the music community of coming up alongside so many new artists that I respect and admire, and to have a seat at the table is really an honor to feel like there's a community of people that I've met at shows. Of fans that have been like, these songs are my anthem. This is my truth too. It's like to feel that community is the thing that means the most to me. I would not be here if it weren't for the people who are making these songs feel a part of their life and their story. And I love that it's our story together. So it's been such a fun adventure up to this point.
And speaking of seeing you live, like I said, we saw you twice. You have so many uniquely designed guitars. And I always knew if we got you in the chair here, I'd want to ask you about that. Who designs them? Who comes up with the patterns on the front? And who makes them for you?
Yeah, so I had this idea that I wanted guitars to kind of be the time capsules to represent the different albums that I make. So we made one for the lemonade stand, and I had my friend Louis Lavoie. He's an incredible artist from back in Alberta where I'm from, and I drew out like a sketch of where I wanted all the different symbols and what lyrics that I wanted to be paired where. And I sat next to him as he painted it, and it was so incredible to watch him and to see the songs kind of coming to life in a tattoo form on a guitar. And then it came time to start working on this new collection of music, which the beginning of that was in the heart of the shutdown of the pandemic. So I literally went to, I think I Amazoned some paint pens
Mm.
and kind of, I don't have a very immaculate sense of artistic drawing, but I started with the sunrise and just kind of like drew these straight lines as the new horizon of music and of the light coming in through the cracks. And then recently I was just back up in Alberta, and I had my friend Lewis, since we could be together again, paint a little bit more on here. So
That's
we've got
gorgeous.
Oh, wow,
symbols
that is beautiful.
and lyrics from all the songs so far on Masquerades, and plenty of room left for the next part of the EP series with Silver Linings coming soon as well.
Wow. So what do you do with the guitars? Do you kind of display them after that album cycle?
Well, at this point, I just kind of keep bringing them all with me. So
Mhm.
I like to play in different tunings. I play a lot in like Dad Gad tuned down to C. So, and I have a couple of songs that are in standard tuning. So now at this point, I've been bringing both acoustics out on the road with me, so I can keep. I don't have to tune back in between both of those. So I don't
Wow.
know. Maybe someday I'll have a whole collection I'll get to bring out on the road with me and just change guitars for multiple songs. We'll see.
I love it.
Awesome. And speaking of Alberta, your home, you just recently hosted your 12th annual Big Hearts for Big Kids event. Such a big accomplishment with that. You've been doing it since you were 15. Tell us about that and tell us how much you raised.
Thank you. I mean, I started this event when I was 15, hearing about kids who were my age in my own hometown who were sleeping in a youth shelter bed at night. And hearing about that was just so crazy for me to wrap my head around. And I wanted to do something to help. And music is my way of bringing people together. So I typed up a sponsor letter, and my mom drove me around after school. And we went to different local businesses asking people if they'd like to come to the show. And I was so amazed at how many people said yes. And we decorated the hall and set everything out. And the night of our first event, the shelter had to close their doors due to lack of funding. And it was this
Mm.
moment of
Oh,
everybody looking at each other going, this is significant timing. We are meant to come together tonight to get these doors back open. So that night I witnessed my hometown raising over $30,000 for the Sunrise House, and I was
Wow.
blown away. I was like, if this is what music can do, I'm in. And we've continued that event every year since, and it has far exceeded any initial expectation that I've had. And it has truly made me believe that anything is possible. wholeheartedly do believe that because of this, because it's been over 2.4 million in the past 12 years, and
Wow.
we just had our 12th event a couple weeks ago, and it was over $450,000 in one night, which is insane. So it's just continued to grow, and I'm so excited. Now we're actually going to be starting up a Big Hearts mini tour, which has always been a part of my dream and my vision as the music kind of keeps unfolding, to be able to combine my love of music, of community spirit, and of local charitable causes. So we've reached out to a few fans that we've gotten to meet over the past few years and gotten to know, and we're like, hey, tell me a cause that you're passionate about, something in your community, invite your friends, I'll bring my guitar, and we'll see what we can do together. So we've got a handful of those shows coming up this May, and I could not be more excited for those.
That is a really creative way to do that. That is beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to those shows.
Yeah. And as a younger artist, you've actually made some Canadian history on the media-based charts. You're the first one with two #1 singles from album tracks. Actually, tell us what that feels like.
That was an incredible honor. I mean, I grew up, listening to the radio in the back seat of the car as a kid, just dreaming of what it could feel like to stand on a stage someday and have my songs come through those speakers and have some little kid in the back seat singing along. So it is a very surreal full circle moment to me to be on the radio now and to feel the support and encouragement of the Canadian country music, radio community, and to every single person out there who's turning it up as they're driving around. It's incredible to me. So we got to do our very first headlining tour up in Canada this past December, and seeing everybody come to the shows and like sing along to all the songs was the most overwhelming, beautiful feeling to me. And that's the dream, is all of us singing along together. So it meant a
Yeah.
lot to celebrate those singles for sure.
Now, this is a question I've had, and the answer could be no. I don't know. But do you notice a difference between the country music that comes out of Canada versus the country music that comes out of here, out of the States? Do you notice any sort of difference in the DNA? Is there any sort of lineage there?
Honestly, I don't. I think that, to me, music is music. I really do feel like music does such a good job of pushing down all of the walls that we put up sometimes. And I think that the soundtrack of what it means to like feel that sense of home, not really as a physical place, but as like a feeling. I think that is delivered in country music as a common thread anywhere around the world. It's like that feeling in ourselves of home. I think is such a foundation of what it means to tell the stories of country music, and those stories feel very much the same of what I grew up with in Grand Prairie, Alberta, as to what I see around here in Tennessee, or what I've seen in London or Australia or wherever it might
Mhm.
be. So I do love that music is this kind of, I don't know, unifying thing that makes us feel a lot closer around the whole world.
Yeah, and before we let you go here, you've been opening for some big names. I mean, Brad Paisley, you opened for my girlfriend Reba, and that was,
I love that. He's
and a bunch of
amazing.
other A-list stars like George Strait. We saw you in the Straight to Vegas shows back in February. What is that reception like, and what are those conversations like for you to receive that phone call like, "Hey, you're going to open for these stars"?
I can't even believe that those things have been real life, honestly. I'm such a fan of everyone that I've had the honor of getting to open up for. It's like to to feel to have the opportunity to go watch and learn from them on stage, just to attend the show as a fan, is the coolest thing. I stood there singing along to every Reba song and to all the George Strait songs. It's like, this is insane. So it really is such a dream to get to meet their audience too. They have such an incredibly kind audience, the both of those artists, who they're just like listening, they're so attentive to the music, and it was so fun to stand up on their stage and see their fans smiling out there and feeling like I was making new friends. So I loved the opportunity to get to be a part of both of those tours.
That's fantastic.
And then the Opry. We got to end with this because we saw you just over a week ago, or yeah, almost 2 weeks ago. Excuse me, getting over some allergies. Just over almost 2 weeks ago at the Opry, you walked out. No, it wasn't your debut, but I know it sure feels like, looks like it feels like the first time you play the Opry every time these people step out on the stage. Describe that feeling of standing in that circle.
It's like it's unlike any other place in the whole planet that I've ever stood on. It's like it really does feel like sacred ground. It feels like you are standing on the same spot that my heroes have stood, that the founders of the family of country music have graced, and
Mhm.
you can't help but stand anywhere in the Grand Ole Opry and just feel this sense that there's like angels around you. And it's so beautiful in there. Even before I ever got to play it, just attending the show as a country music fan, sitting in those seats, dreaming of what it could feel like to stand up there someday, you still feel it. It's like, oh, the spirit of country music is alive and well, and I will never not be nervous, like to the center of my core, walking out on that stage, just thinking about the significance of the history that has existed and been a part of the Grand Ole Opry. So honored
How
to get to play it.
how how do you decide the three songs? And then, buddy, you can take the last thing and wrap. But how do you decide the three songs that you're going to do? Because I think you did "What a Wonderful World" to close out your set.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's always like a bit of a mystery with the Grand Ole Opry. There's always it's living and breathing, because
Right.
I was actually supposed to just do two songs, so I thought, okay, I'll introduce a new one from the Masquerades EP. And then I was really excited to get to bring my friend Nate Smith out to do
Yes.
our duet that we've released together. And he made his Grand Ole Opry debut earlier that night, so it was an honor to be a part of that celebration. And then with the Keith Urban ended up having to change his dates, and so because he wasn't coming, they were like, "Hey, can you do an extra song at the last minute?" And I was standing there going, "I wonder what I should do acoustic," and I literally just kind of started humming that song and felt the Grand Ole Opry angels whispering it to me and went for it.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It
Thank
was beautiful. And Tenille, thank you for the time you've given us. Good luck with everything. Congrats on all the wins and
Truly.
nominations. And we hope to see you back on the road again soon.
Well, thank you. I can't wait to cross paths with you guys again soon. And thank you so much for having me today and lifting up the EP Masquerades. I really appreciate you
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. Take care.
You
Take care.
too. Bye
All
now.
right,
Bye
bye.
bye.
Well, she's got a long career ahead of her, and you heard
Yes,
her
she
say
does.
part two, or this is actually a series of EPs. So we'll see how many she's got left on that and what is next for her. She's got a lot of great success and looking forward to, like we told her, to see her back on the road again because she's really becoming quite the entertainer. She flings her hair around and jumps around with that guitar, and that's not an easy feat, I'm sure, because those guitars are not light.
No. And I think the art on the guitars is gonna be her signature going forward.
Mhm.
I really do. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what she does. And I actually really like her voice. And what I was getting at with the Canada thing, and see if maybe you can understand it. I couldn't, between all the head stuffiness, I couldn't think of an articulate way to put this. So I'm just going to get out there and say it. Between Shania and Tenille and some other Canadian artists, it seems like a lot of the resonance is right here in the
Mhm.
sinuses. And I've noticed that with Canadian singers. Now that's not a bad thing. Some people like that, some people don't. I like that she sort of, for lack of a better word, has a bit of a nasally tone to her voice. I think
Mhm.
it just adds another layer. Same with Shania. She sings kind of up here. So that's something I've noticed with Canadians is they tend to have a little bit more nasal and sinus in their music.
Well,
I
I
off
could,
base in saying that? I don't know. Go
no,
ahead.
I can hear that. I could hear what you're saying there, and yeah, like you said, it brings another tone, and it's unique too. And I think that's what country music is needing right now, is some uniqueness, and it always has it, but it's moving it forward in that direction too. But Terry Clark is Canadian, and I don't hear nasally
That's
singing in
true.
her voice.
That's true. I will say though, with Tenille, and this is a great thing, when you listen to her and she comes on the radio, even if you don't know what song it is, you go, "Oh, that's Tenille. That's
Mhm.
Tenille Towns." She
Yeah.
has a really distinctive voice, and it's going to carry her really far.
Yeah, and she's a great songwriter, and just strums that guitar like crazy and
Oh
really gets
yeah,
into it. So she lets the music move her. And Masquerades is the new EP. It's out now. You can get it digitally and anywhere, I guess, music's sold. And it's great what she's doing with the Big Hearts for Big Kids too.
it really
making
is.
making charities a lot of money there.
Exactly. So we wish her all the best and to come back anytime she wants because we know she's going to be huge. So
Yep.
for the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And Buddy, thanks for listening and watching. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and share button, and follow us at tmupod.com, as well as the Music Uni and themusicuniverse.com for the main hub of all your news and reviews. Take care.